Sing Grace Marley? Huh? You got the Dusty Cup later? Kick ass, man. Somebody hit my music.
Let's get to the money.
Let's get to the
money.
Let's get to the
money. Let's get to the motherfucking money.
Fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. FTV screaming fuck the bookies, 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 fuck the bookies. FTV screaming fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. Middle finger in the ass screaming fuck the bookies. Woke up in the morning, grab my little black book. Yesterday can eat a dick, cause we lost by the hook. Can't win them all, so you never see me get shook. Today's a new day, the bookmaker's getting cooked. When I spot a dirty K of 4 units getting played, always find the value, I would never be afraid. Scary money don't win, but I'm not going all in unless I see a bet I love, then I put my balls on a bookie's chin. Let it all soak in, doubling my bread, winning money with my friends. If you got the itch and you wanna go big, follow Sharpie bets and you gon' really fucking win. This is not financial advice, it's entertainment. But if I find the right price, believe I'm parlaying it. You can see my spreadsheet, I'm winning, not just saying it. Profit in the green every week, I'm never negative. I can bet an ace or a shitty old picture. Pick the right spots cause I'm the K-prop whisperer. Shut up when I speak until you finally get the picture. I'm the best in the world, tell me you getting richer. Fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. FTV screaming fuck the bookies, 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 fuck the bookies. FTV screaming fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies, fuck the bookies. Middle finger in the ass screaming fuck the bookies.
Let's get to the motherfucking monies.
And here we go.
Yeah.
Welcome to another edition of The Balking Dead, where there is no sleep for the wicked. We are at the middle of the week on a month that's been give, pull, with more fucking pulling than giving. As this show is Monday through Friday, we start our Wednesday show off with Jack of the Day with Connor Mack. And due to it being moving day, we only do have 5 pitchers to talk about, so enough small talk. This show is sponsored by W. It's a clean energy powder with no come down to your day. Simple, guys. Scan that QR code on your screen. You're going to get 10% off your first order by using the best promo code on God's green earth. Pub Sports, that is. But, like I said, we start Wednesdays off with a bang. Some say a blast. On this show, we call it Jack of the Day with Connor Mack.
Well, see you later.
What's good, my guy? I'm all jacked up with how the morning's been going for me, so let's keep the momentum of Mike sweeping the board going for these hitting props on what's always the worst card of the week when you show up. So you kept it going last week, too, when you were here. I expect nothing to change, my man.
Let's get it. Yeah.
Let's get it, dude.
Hitter props have been good, and my sides and totals have been good finally, too, lately, after a little bit shitty there before the break. But
last week on the show, you said, can my hitting props match up with my sides and totals, please? Well, Looks like the baseball gods are finally listening. Listening. So let's keep it rolling, my guy. Your first game is an interleague matchup between the Baltimore Orioles at the Phillies. Who are you looking at up in this matchup?
Yeah, let's get to it. Shout out to the chat. Hit the like button. Smokey Pops, real deal, prime. There's always the grinder. Justin, my man. Good to see you, Juan. Everyone, LJ, I see you up in here. Ricky Bobby. Let's get right to it here. Sharpie at this guy. You know, I even took him probably 3 weeks ago on your show because I remember these shows on Wednesday or Thursday because you got to perform. He did not. But he's come back and he's hit more here. And that's Bryce Harper. I'm on his over 1.5. I got it this morning, plus 120. I had to take it last 2 days, back to more hits, 2 for 4, 2 for 4. And we saw him go deep yesterday. Wind's blowing out. Not crazy, but it's hot, 90 degrees, 88, 90. You know, nice 7-8 wind blowing out there in Philly. They might not score a ton of runs. Bradish has been pretty good. Both at home and on the road. He hasn't been that bad. But I'm on the over 1.5 plus 120. You can still get that or near that number, I think, most everywhere. And I got to take the Jack at plus 550. Finally goes yard. You got to put a little bit on that. And some places are lower, but this is like a rare one, William Hill, where they only have like those few props, but the hitter props, the home run props are a little bit higher. So I got 550. Most places it's like 500, but still, I'm on it.
When do they ever give out Bryce Harper at plus 500 on a home run? That just means that dude ain't hit his stride yet. Huh? Has he had a slow year this year?
He's been, yeah. He was starting to hit when he came back. He's been hitting, but he has no power. I don't know what, exactly is wrong, but he's hit a couple. He hit one, what was that, July 16th, something like that, and he hit one yesterday. I'm a little bit on it. Maybe he's feeling it. I'm taking that, but I think he gets over the 1.5. And his RBI. No,
I'm just saying he's due. I'm not saying it's bad, bro. I'm just saying, bro.
I think he's due too.
Bro, he was at a 250 a lot because he was hitting so many damn home runs. So it's just like he is coming back from elbow surgery, isn't he?
Yeah, and I look at his RBI.
It's gonna come, bro. If he's starting to hit, bro, it's coming.
I want to stick to it because he's been getting more hits. Even last year, Bryce Harper, not a crazy RBI guy, hasn't got to 100 many years there. And I'd rather go with the total bases here in this one, especially with the value.
Heck yeah. So let's get into that second game of the day, which happens to be your last game of the day as it is moving day. And I am going to talk about Big Fram Diesel in this game, and we're talking about the Battle of Texas where the Rangers square off with the Astros. And I do have a feeling you took this guy last week and he performed well, and I may be wrong, but who we looking at here?
You are wrong. Shout out to my guy, Trey. I don't mind it, though. I don't mind his look, and he's red hot. His numbers aren't great, but I don't mind that play, which I was going to throw on. And his Jack's right around plus 475, plus 500. Rocco, what's up, my dude? Thanks for the dono, Real Deal Prime. $2. Appreciate you, my man.
Appreciate you, my guy.
Definitely. I'm going with Jose Abreu here. Abreu, the guy who last 2 weeks, we started the power starting to see a little bit, especially, about 3-4 weeks ago, Sharpie. He's 5 for 15 with 4 homers here off Andrew Heaney, and we know what Andrew Heaney does. Even if he pitches well, he gives up the long ball. Every year, 27, 23, whatever. I think he's given up 19. 18 or 19. I have to double check that, but I think it's 19 already this year. So I love that. I don't mind Bregman, and they're both around the same number. When you have that good of numbers, and I'm getting plus 480 with you here, with Abreu, I'm on it. And here, flip it. He's been hitting better. I love him. He should be in the 5 hole today. And my main bet on it, I'm on his RBI, plus 165.
What was the one? You're just taking the RBI right here?
No, RBI plus 165 and the Jack. Put a little on the Jack, as always. My main bet that. However you want it. We talk about this all the time with your bankroll. These are home runs. Bets, so keep it however you do with your bankroll. 20%, a fifth of your bet, whatever it is, plus 480.
Ooh, yeah, I definitely thought you were going to come with some Bregman today.
I don't mind it though.
As it is a lefty, and this guy is starting to hit, bro, and he's just way too good career-wise. Back a baseball card. So, yeah, I'm actually looking at some Cody Bellinger as well today, bro. The fucker's hot. Hot as dog shit, bro. I mean, that ain't good to put it like that, but we'll say fish grease. And Lance Lynn has an issue with lefties. Oh,
boom. Well, right here, talk about it. The only thing, like I said, I don't mind the Bregman. Make that smaller. He's only 7 for 30, but he's just getting red hot. I'd rather have Abreu hitting well, 5th. I think the RBI is solid, but 5 for 15. A 4 homers, sorry. That's pretty good. Not a huge sample size. Already 4 bombs off him. We've seen the power, the change in his swing, and all that, where he's starting to lift it and get it out. But the last I wanted to touch on, Cubs, Bellinger. He's red hot. I don't blame you. Go ahead and look. I just wanted to touch on a couple that weren't official that I haven't put in yet, whether it's Belly, even Ian Happ. Good numbers off. We all know what Lance Lynn does. Pitching a little bit better. Looks like he could get moved to the Rays. I've seen all that news today, maybe. But, yeah, Belly just red hot. I look at those Cubs. And I also look at a few Red Sox. Justin Turner's been getting it done. I just didn't want to focus on one. Yoshida went yard yesterday. So, but you might want to look at a couple Red Sox. We know Strider swing and miss is good, but a few guys, Devers, could barrel it up and get some there. Also, the Dodgers, JD Martinez has a couple homers. This game's about to pop off soon.
He hit a home run again last night. Fuck, he's
Did a
hot.
homer last night, and I don't even think he's 3-1.
It's hot out here, guys. The ball's flying in these hot weather games right now.
Yeah, and we got a 10. They think there'll be runs here this afternoon in Dodger Stadium. So just not great price for me, but definitely a guy I think you want to look at if you're looking for action here in the next 40 minutes on the game.
Quick question on Kiki Hernandez, bro. What do you think of him coming home?
I like it. I think he's just kind of floundering. He hasn't had the best year, but I think coming back to the Dodgers will be solid for him, and especially with the Dodgers. We just need him usually against lefties in that spot start, that role. And we know, he needs to play second base. He can play short, but he needs to be there, and that's where we need some help a little bit defensively. So I love it.
I love it from two perspectives. I love what he does to our clubhouse. He brings the energy,
it's automatic,
that he brings into that. Like on a bad game, bro. Guess what? Kiki's making you all laugh. He's turning the tides for you. We were on a losing streak, and this guy put on a banana suit in a 13th inning of a game just to get some laughs, bro. Granted, the owner offered him cash to do it, but he's that type of guy. Now, the second part I love is we need a platoon player. He's never hit over 220 for us. We need a guy, like you said, that's doing what Mookie's been doing, bro, playing everywhere for us. And then, yes, to strictly hit mainly versus lefties, but Chris Taylor ain't doing it, bro. And I'd rather have Kiki out there who's a better defender. And, fuck, man, I'm glad he's home. All my bobbleheads are back to being Dodgers again from him, so it's kind of cool.
He'll forever, too. Couple clutch hits, clutch home runs against the Cubs, I remember, in the playoffs. So, that always stands with me. And he's in the lineup here today, right? He's in the lineup that I see.
Keek, bro, he's gonna be in our lineups, bro. He's a platoon player, and we've been platooning Mookie.
Yeah, I know.
Like, man, bro, this is a great signing for us. I'm glad he got paid and that he's not getting. We were paying him $500,000, so that was chump change. So, for you guys showing up for the recap of Jack of the Days in the recaps when we end this at the end of the show, Connor Mack starts it off with Bryce Harper over 1.5 bases at plus 120 with a nice little sprinkle on his home run at plus 550. And then, because it is moving day, we only have one more game to talk about. And there were some guys, but he does make real good points, valid points on taking Jose Abreu's RBI at plus 165. And then his home run as well at plus 480. C-Mac, my guy, appreciate you. And tell him where to find you, what you got going on. And yeah,
appreciate always love coming on here. I will be here tomorrow. Let's keep cashing. I'm glad you are cashing. I'm glad to hear that. Always sounds good. Keep the cashing rolling. Shout out to the chat and just Connor Mack picks. I'll see you tomorrow, and hopefully we cash big, my dude. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Well, see you later.
On this show, we will talk the opening line on a player's K-prop and then the best line available 30 minutes prior to the show, and then we will compare them to what PrizePicks has to offer. Of course, this show is sponsored by PrizePicks, so if you haven't, go on over there and use that promo code PUBSPORTS. Get a match deposit of your first deposit up to 100, minimum of 25. Shout out to the 45+ live that showed up early. Smash that like if you haven't, as it does help the algorithms a lot. And everybody in the chat, everybody live, give a little shout out, little love to the newest soon-to-be father of a baby boy. Big Show's got little show on the way. They went and seen the reveal yesterday of it. Was it going to be a girl or a guy? And the man produces a man, of course. So, yeah, give the guy some love as we get into the first pitcher on the board, Zac Gallen versus the Cardinals, as this game does crack off in 13 minutes. He's striking people out at a 26% clip while walking people 5% of the time. Morning line was 7+ at +116 on FanDuel, where the best line available now is 7+ at even money and still on FanDuel. PrizePicks has him at a flat 6, whereas hits allowed on PrizePicks are under over at a flat 5. The lineup today is 5 righties and 4 lefties for your Cardinals. We're going to start the day talking K-props and a guy who don't give a fuck about striking people out. Yeah, and I'm talking Zac Gallen versus the Cardinals. And when we look at the Cards' numbers, they are walking above league average. They're hitting the ball with a nice team isolated power of 170 while also striking out 24% of the time. And I have a key that's been working all year at over a 90% win rate when I want a K-prop versus these Cardinals, and that's high velocity. They've just had mad issues with anyone who could touch above 95 miles per hour. Well, that's not what Gallen does, guys, as his fastball averages 93.5 miles per hour, and this goes back to how I started this write-up. A guy who gives a rat's ass about striking someone out. As he said it multiple times last year, my job is to go deep and to put the team in a spot to win. He said it himself that strikeouts are nice, but that's not what I'm here to do. So yeah, guys, he really is an ace, as aces do look to go deep. And if you are looking to strike people out, you're wasting pitches and running your pitch count up. And that just ain't going to allow you to go deep. Those two things just do not combine. Yes, I love me a strikeout pitcher. Blake Snell, he's a strikeout pitcher. But the problem with Blake Snell is he don't go deep much, guys. And that's what's crazy about another guy we're going to talk about, how Spencer Strider goes deep. Yet he's the best strikeout pitcher to ever walk God's green earth. But yeah, let's get back to Zac Gallen right quick. So this man is an ace, guys. And the fact that they even put this man at a 6.5 is enough for me to say pass, as this should be a 5.5 in my opinion. He's only hit the 5.5, guys, or even the 6.5 at 40% over his last 10 games. And if you know anything about Zac Gallen in the books, they used to not know how to line him and would always put him at a super low number, to a point to where you'd be like, bro, really? 4.5, 5.5? What? This guy's had 7 strikeouts in 8 games. What do you mean? And he was hitting and hitting and hitting. Well, the books have now adjusted as about 6th, 7th game for Gallen. They stopped undervaluing him and started jumping him up, or at least putting him to where at least he should be. And yeah, they jumped him up today, guys. So how has Zac Gallen done when they have jumped him up? Well, he's been jumped up 3 times this year, as I mark every time when a guy gets jumped up, Rule 34 next to him, so I know, what happens, and that way I can track and pay attention. And he's went over that 2 of 3 games. He's had a 12-pack in 2 of those games while getting hooked in the others. So the books are definitely telling me Zac Gallen's going to go out there and have himself a day. And the lineup is 5 lefties in it, guys, as this year Gallen has a 2 strikeout higher K per 9 versus the left-handed side than he does the right-handed side, as well as being at home, where a strikeout percentage has just been elite through his whole career, elite this year. Yet this year on the road, his strikeout percentage has just fallen off a cliff. So I wish he fell under my high velocity category, so that way I could get in and feel comfortable with getting in. But it is what it is. And I'm going to let Gallen be and just watch him go have himself a day, as it seems to be that when they bump him up, he goes out and gives them a reason to bump him up. So if you are on Zac Gallen today, I do lean the over 6.5, as in the books are telling me that by what I've seen him do throughout the year. Now let's get into a guy we're going to put some moolah on, my man. Let's go. This guy owes us technically, but I do not bet in that way of thinking that a guy owes us. Now, I did learn a lesson yesterday, and I should have learned it last week, but we'll get to it. Number 5 in the black book, Carlos Rodon versus the Mets, as this will be his 4th game this year. So his career totals, he's striking people out at a 26.5% clip, while walking people 9% of the time. Open them up on DraftKings 7+ at -115, where the best available line to that 7+ is on MGM at a -110. PrizePicks has him at a 6.5, whereas pitching outs on PrizePicks are at a flat 16. Projected lineup is 7 righties and 2 lefties. Carlos Rodon versus the Mets after he walked himself out the fucking game last week versus the Angels. Yet, call me crazy, I'm not going to fault him for that, as the Angels have been the best over the last 30 days in taking walks versus lefties at an absurd 13.5%. Something that I do need to pay more attention to when going forward versus these Halos. But this is not the Halos. And this is the best matchup Rodon has seen in just his 4th game this year. And yes, he did get to see the Rockies, who do suck. They are probably worse versus lefties than these Mets. But, well, I'd say maybe, because these Mets been bad. But it was Rodon's first game in Colorado. And one of my rules is we don't bet guys who are making their first start in thin air, as though Rodon is a 2-pitch pitcher and the slider just don't slide up there. He still had himself a 6-pack that day. So, yeah, he gets the Mets, who are on my no-fly zone. That is, versus right-handers. Yeah, they've just been struggling versus lefties, guys, as let's just go through their numbers, as their numbers are bad. They're walking league average. They're not hitting for the life of them with a team isolated power of less than 100, while striking out at a 25% clip. Yeah, bad. Let's go look at those guys that we would bet on in that time span. We were on James Paxton. He went 6 innings with 7 strikeouts. Julio Urias had his only good game on the road this year versus this team. And that should say something, because he's seen the Royals on the road too, guys, where he should have done well. Some of the Pirates on the road where he should have done well. So the fact that he went out and went 6 innings and got 7 strikeouts, whoa, yeah, there's something going on here with these Mets, guys, as they're not the Mets versus lefties, as they are the Mets versus righties. Well, they even seen Blake Snell, who over his whole career has struggled mightily versus these Mets. And I mean struggled, never hit a K-prop versus the Mets. Well, until these last 30 days, that is, when he went 6 innings and had himself 10 strikeouts. And those are the guys we would go bet on, or I would go bet on in that span. And that's the reason why I put out the Joe Ryan video this morning on my channel on YouTube at Sharpie710, as I have that double 6 all parlay with Ryan at 6 and Rodon at 6 for a half unit at -122. Well, I also have a half unit, guys, on his outs over 15.5 at -135, as this can be one of those days that Carlos Rodon reminds everybody why the Yankees paid this man. And I mean, they paid this man. And for that reason, I do not hate if you're going to take the 6.5 straight, guys, but I do have a half unit on him already at the 6, and I have another half unit on his outs, and I don't feel the need to get too much more involved. But what I did do is put a 1/10 of a unit on his 9+ strikeouts at +320, as like I said, this is a day where if Carlos Rodon just keeps them walks to 3 or less, he reminds the world of who Carlos Rodon is. And that is the best strikeout pitcher in the major leagues from the left-handed side. Let's go talk about the guy, though, that's the best pitcher, period, righty or lefty, strikeout-wise, in the major leagues. Number 1 in the black book, Spencer Strider at the Red Sox, striking people out this year at a 39.7% clip. That's damn near 4 out of every 10 batters, fellas. Like, Ikole chingalo way. Well, walking people at a good, solid 7.4% of the time. Opened him up 9+ at -155 on DraftKings. I woke up, he was 9+ at even money on FanDuel. And now the best line available is still on FanDuel to that 9+, but at +102. PrizePicks has him at a 8.5, whereas hits allowed under over are at a 4.5 on PrizePicks. Projected lineup for your Red Sox today is 5 lefties and 4 righties. Now we got the best strikeout pitcher to ever walk God's green earth going today with a low number, as Spencer Strider has a matchup with the Red Sox. And when we look at their numbers, as they are below league average in walk percentage, they're not striking out in the elite 19%, while they're middle of the pack in isolated power. So I get it. It's been one of my no-fly zones versus right-handed pitchers for the most part. So let's go see how Strider has done versus my other no-fly zones from the right-handed side. He had himself 9-piece, guys, versus the Nationals. And yeah, the Nationals suck, but they are a team who doesn't strike out often. They put the ball in play. Strikeouts do not correlate with wins, do not correlate with losses, does not correlate with sides and totals. I will say that 1,000 times, maybe even 10,000 times a year. So, yeah, let's keep talking about the no-fly zone Spencer Strider has seen. So we got 9 versus the Nationals. Both game versus the Mets, he only had an 8-pack. And then he's seen the Diamondbacks where he put up 7 the first time, and then he backed it up with a 13-piece the second time. And those are the no-fly zones that he has seen. And to be real, I can't even take much into the 2 times where he got 8 versus the Mets, as the Mets have had his number over the last 2 seasons since he's been in the league. And he does have something in his head that wants to murder the Mets, as he's talked shit about the Mets afterwards, games that he just don't like them. And that, I think, he overthrows that day for that reason versus the Mets. And you can't overthrow when you're throwing 99, my friend. You just can't do, no, you just can't do that, my friend. So if we take out those Mets games, guys, at the end of the day, he has a 2-2 record to the over. So not much to go off of there, but there is a reason why we're getting plus money, and there is no reason in hell I would ever tell anybody or their mom to ever bet a K-prop under on Spencer Strider. The only time Spencer Strider has lost his K-prop, when I go through my books and I track everything, guys, is when they put him at a number like they opened him up and it stays at that number. So if he would have been like 8.5 minus 150, 7.5 minus 150, those are the days he's lost. So take that in the fact that he is on the road today where his K per 9 drops down to an elite 13.5 K per 9 on the road, but that is a drop. But he has 5 lefties projected, and we could see 6. And he strikes out righties and lefties at a stupid 14 K per 9 or higher, with lefties just a tad bit more since he has added in the changeup this year. So Spencer Strider is over or nothing. At the moment, I have no bet in. I would like to see the lineups run a few things, as he is one of the guys on my Mount Rushmores of strikeouts. I believe he's the best pitcher to ever walk God's green earth, and strikeout pitcher, that is. And I'm just going to enjoy it. I may just watch it, and that's okay with me. But it's over or nothing, and I just ain't been hot enough to say hold my beer, as I do know a lot of you guys put some real good money on my bet. So if you're looking to go bet them, go ahead, bro. Like, it's either over or nothing with old Mick Strider, bro, because we used to sing a song, Old Mick Strider had a farm. K. And on his farm, he had a Red Sox. Turner, I would say Kiki, but he's back home. You get my drift, though, guys. Over or nothing with old Mick Strider, as in I do not have a bet. Now let's talk about Fat Lance, number 36 in the black book. Lance Lynn versus the Cubs. Striking people out this year at a 27.3% clip, while walking people league average at an 8.4% of the time. Opened them up last night, which I was like, huh? I just fucking crossed it out. I snapped it, so I had the line, and I was like, yeah, right. 8+ at plus 110 on FanDuel is where it opened. I woke up to a more realistic 7+ minus 135 on BetMGM. And now the best line available is on FanDuel to that 7+ at a minus 145. PrizePicks has them at a flat 7, whereas hits allowed are at over 5.5 on PrizePicks. Projected lineup today is 5 righties, 4 lefties for your Cubbies. Now we get a spot, guys, like I said, that opened up at 7.5, and now it's at a 6.5 at, very juiced out. And it should have never been in a 7.5, guys, as he's only hit the over 7.5, 20% of his last 10 games. And the guys who bet off of averages hammered that under, guys. They're just like, yeah, cook me, mother trucker, as it should be 6.5 at plus money. That's my opinion. That's the way I cap. That's the way I make lines. And then you have to add in the tax, guys. So let's go look at that tax. And I get why they added in the juice, because look at the numbers. They're not hitting with a team isolated power of just 112. They're striking out at a 27% clip. And they're walking league average. So yes, the books are going to add in some juice. FanDuel tried to be janky and get some people on a strikeout, and they may have gotten cooked by putting them up just a little bit too high. So that's the reason why they're getting juice on what should be a plus money 6.5. Now, there is an issue with me right here, guys. So where they added juice to Gallen for no reason, they added juice for this guy for a reason. But that reason, guys, can always go wrong, as when betting on a Lynn K-prop, you can more often than not lock him in for one terrible inning. Now, the problem is if he has two, he's not coming back out. Now, the White Sox manager does let Lynn find himself after one bad inning. And if he gives up 4 runs in the first, don't be surprised to see him come back out. And if he settles in, he could still go 6. So the strikeout percentage says play, the walk percentage says play, and the ISO says play. So Sharpie, we in there like swimwear? Hold up, swolled up, guys. As my problem here with this is these numbers don't have Dansby Swanson in it. And I know to pick on this team without Dansby Swanson in the lineup, as in the very first day that he went to the IL, I played the K-prop because this lineup is bad. But it actually is a lot better with just one guy added in, and where that guy hits, you're going to see that guy 3 and maybe 4 if you go deep into a game, guys. So the guy could punish you, he can hurt you, and the fact that Lynn struggles versus lefties, like we were talking about during the hitting part of this segment, guys, and I mean struggles. And it's not just the strikeout stuff, guys, as his batting average goes up from a elite 200 from the right-handed side to a 338 from the left-handed side. His on-base percentage jumps up over 130 points versus the right-handed side. And his slugging versus lefties, they double compared to right-handed hitters, guys. So, like I said, I think Bellinger, he's hot right now. I think he's worth a look at his over 1.5, or maybe another belly bomb or his RBI like Mike did last night, as he has problems with lefties. They're projecting at least 4. And Dansby Swanson's a righty, and that's just one guy that I tend to I'll give him more credit than maybe the next man up, because the Cubs gave him that credit. They paid the man 260 or 300 million. They know what he does, and he's a big drastic difference to this lineup is what I'm getting at. So he also has a problem striking out lefties, not just freaking letting them beat the dog piss out of him, like I just told you all the hitting numbers, guys, as he's striking out righties with an elite 30.8% on the year. But it does drop down to a 23.5% versus the left-handed side, which is about league average, as his walk percentage also jumps up 2% as well versus the left-handed side. So other than him being taken to the woodshed and getting the dog piss kicked out of him, which has been the story of Lynn this year, I could still see this guy hitting this K-prop over, guys, but just not trying to get in with the volatility right here, as his name is being mentioned around in trades. And if he does have a solid 6, I could see them pulling him with his pitch count down, as this guy is on the trade block, and you never know. You just never know what can happen. So Lynn and the lean is over. I may bet it once the lineups do come out. Maybe they, put in Christopher Morel at the top of the lineup. Maybe they give me a couple things that I'm looking for. And I will tweet out any action that I do add in on Fat Lance, as a lot of this has to be lineup based for me now. And it's really going really well for me this morning. It's going well for me. Not well for me yesterday, the day before. So it's been a real rough month. Is what it is. Like I said at the beginning of the show, it's been a lot of give, pull, more little pull than give. But I still have ended at least on top of every week. Maybe not freaking up 10 units like I expect, but there's no need to panic. There's no need to change the way I cap, and volatility is one thing that keeps me off of things at times. And that's the one thing that's going to keep me off Lynn at the moment until the lineups come out, as I am afraid they load up a lefty dominant lineup, and there is chance that he gets sodomized on national television, and he could still hit his K-props that way. So I don't know if I want to be involved with that. Now, there's a guy I do want to be involved with. Last guy we're going to talk about on the board, number 13 in the black book, Framber Valdez versus the Rangers. He's striking people out at a 27% clip. Well, he's walking people 6.1% of the time. Morning line is 7 plus at minus 102 on FanDuel, where the best line available is still on FanDuel. It's moved up 3 cents to a minus 105. PrizePicks has him at a 6.5, whereas hits allowed under over are at 5.5 on PrizePicks. Projected lineup for your Rangers today is 8 righties and 1 lefties. Lefties, 1 lefty. We end the day with Big Fram Diesel, guys, in his second matchup was these Texas Rangers. We're back on April 16th. He went 6 innings, 1 earned run, while punching out 7. Now, 3 months later, he gets another look at these Rangers. So let's go look at their numbers. And we have to go back a whole 30 days to get 200 plate appearances. And they're walking league average. They're walking below league average. They're smashing the ball with a team isolated power of 198 while also striking out 23.5% of the time. So when I go check the lineup numbers from April 16th, there isn't much to take from it, as that time the Rangers had only 66 at-bats from that lineup versus the lefty. And from what I'm getting to know with these lineups, I'm going to need at least 100 to a $150 to get a real read on how that lineup was acting that day. And this lineup book has been dead money, guys. So kept us off Hunter Brown and got us on Giolito, got us on Ryan last week. When these guys are seen multiple times, 2, 3, 4 times, oh, Lord, man. Matching up the lineup numbers is like a fucking easiest thing in the book. And I need to start betting unders because the unders have been cashing as well. So not enough for me in that April 16th start to take much from. So we know this is a divisional game. We know these guys play each other at least 5 times a year, right? So let's go look at past history since they are in the same division. And Big Fram Diesel owns these boys. And I mean owns them. He got a parking spot at the Rangers Stadium, guys. Front row Lexus Club. Framber Valdez gets to pull into where the Astros bus has to get off somewhere else. And this is what I mean by owns this team. 5 games last year, including a back-to-back. He had 5 quality starts, including the quality start he had this year, guys. So, yeah, that's considered owning somebody, where in none of those games, he gave up more than 2 earned runs. He also had that back-to-back, guys. And, yeah, had good strike in both of those spots as well. So, the only time he's seen them last year where the strikeout percentage said fire away on his K-prop, he went 7 innings with 8 strikeouts. So in the last 6 meetings with Framber versus the Rangers, they just can't see this man, as they haven't put up, like I said, more than 2 earned runs in 6 straight games versus this man, dating back to 2022. So it's how do we get on him today, guys, as they are striking out at an overall 23.5% for a team who struggles versus this man, but yet hits lefties well over their career. Going back to last year, they've always been good versus lefties, guys, but we will preach on this show. What? Good pitching beats good hitting. Yeah, and Big Fram Diesel may be one of the best pitchers in all of the league. Pitchers. Okay, where I said Spencer Strider is the best strikeout pitcher. There's a difference in being a pitcher and a strikeout pitcher. And we talked about it with Gallen. Gallen looks to go deep. Aces look to go deep. Spencer Strider's an ace. He still goes deep while striking people out. Now, he don't have them complete games next to his name like Big Fram Diesel does, but he'll get there, guys, because he doesn't waste a lot of pitches. This guy comes at you, Big Spence, and that's what you need to go deep. You need to attack Big Fram Diesel at home where the infield is wetter as all wet can be. The ground balls die 102 off the bat. No problem. It's more like 92 because of that soaked infield. And Big Fram Diesel, give me a lineup that matches these overall numbers, and I will get in and pick on these guys one way or the other. As when I dug through the book last year, he faced this team with an ISO of 200 or higher 3 of those 5 games. So, like I said, they've been hitting lefties going back to last year. They were hitting lefties, seeing him 3 times last year. And big Fram Diesel these boys, and didn't allow more than 2 earned runs, having a quality start in every game. So, depending on the lineups, guys, I'm either taking his outs over, his earned runs under, or his strikeouts over, as I do want to get in on big Fram Diesel, as good pitching beats good hitting. And yes, it says they're hitting lefties.
Yeah.
They had 200 ISO in 3 of 5 games last year. So they're missing Corey Seager. And there are some guys who don't strike out versus Valdez in this lineup with some really good plate appearances where I consider good 15 or more. So the outs or the earned runs may be the way to attack it. And the lineup will tell me how to get in. So, yeah, lineup pending. We are in on him one way or the other. For those showing up for the recap or just in here live, do me a favor, smash that like button, as it does help those find the best MLB prop show on God's green earth. With today being moving day, we had 5 guys in the black book to speak about. And the only action I have in without the lineups is a half unit on Carlos Rodon's outs over 15.5 at -135, and 1/10 of a unit on him to get 9+ strikeouts at +320. If you tuned into my channel or Twitter, we did put out that play this morning, hooked to Carlos Rodon. We had a 6-6 alt parlay at -122, where Joe Ryan's 6 already came through for your boys. I did have a lot of morning action, and thank you, baby Jesus. I needed a day like this. Now, I don't hate if you want to go grab that 6.5 on Carlos Rodon. I just already have a half unit on that 6 in a parlay waiting to cash, and a half on his outs, plus that 10th for him to get 9+, as this should and could be the day Carlos Rodon puts his freaking nuts on the table, guys. So I will tweet out any other action that I do add in, as there is a few spots that I am waiting for lineups to see if and when or how Sharpie's getting paid today. As you already know, this show is sponsored by PrizePicks. If you haven't, do me a favor and go on over there and use that promo code PUBSPORTS. You're going to get a match deposit up to $100, minimum of $25 on your first deposit. Until next time, I'm Sharpie's Bets. Our special guest today was Connor Mack Picks, and this show is produced by soon-to-be father of a baby boy, Big Show Picks. Some say we be pubbing. I say, baseball gods, give us a 9-pack from Carlitos, please. Please, please. Yeah.
Keep firing, assholes!
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Mills here, Pub Sports Radio. Do you guys want to challenge the personalities here at Pub Sports Radio? Do you guys think you're better than them at entering in your MMA predictions and picks? Would you want to get paid for it? $100? Here's how you do it, man. You sign up right here at the link below. It's just this easy. PubSportsRadio.com. Enter your email. Pick your weekly picks. That's it. Oh, and you get bonus points if you can predict how they're going to win in what round.